This is Lauren.
This is Trey.
And this
is the Partnership Podcast.
Isn't that interesting? It's interesting. Hi.
Hello.
What do you want to talk about on this podcast?
We don't have any more problems. We don't have any more fucking problems. So you know what? Delete the podcast.
Let it be done.
Mm-hmm.
No more.
Yeah, we're solved. We're complete. We're whole.
When people say, like, what's the point of this podcast, the partnership podcast? And I'm like, oh my.
We've gotten to work some shit out, and you've gotten to help some people.
Mm-hmm. Very true. That's how you describe the podcast. That's good.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
The capitalist in me is also like, we make money off of this.
Yeah, it's interesting. Human design. I'll never forget when Andy, our human design coach, showed us both that you have this money gate because it always felt a little cringy in my body because I had been so conditioned, that, to give is better than to receive and all this kind of messaging around that. And she was like, oh, Trey's meant to monetize his passions. And we both looked at each other like, because that is something you just knew in your bones for forever. And you've helped me do the same. It was you who first said, like, oh, you should do this, right? You should take the healing you have done for your own self on who you are as a sexual being, what you want in a sexual relationship, and your values and what you stand on and the way you've expanded and healed. And you should help other people do that.
Babe, do you want to talk about the conversation that we had Tuesday when you requested intentional time and date time?
Yeah, it's funny because you might have heard me listening to a podcast this morning. And Danae Logan, love, she's the one who says we don't get to tell others how to love us. We just get to decide whether or not we participate in the ways that they love.
Fuck yeah.
Right? Which you and I use often. She will often remind us that in order for relationships to be healthy and thriving, both partners, or all partners, if it's more than two, must be willing to assume 100% accountability for their own actions and reactions, old attachment wounds, how they show up inside a relationship, their needs, wants, and desires, the roles they play in an argument, in the feelings. Because if not, we quickly go to our safety-seeking behaviors: blame, critiquing, avoidance, failure narratives, all this type of stuff. That's the stretch that you do that makes the caring.
Sorry. What she's talking about is the last podcast. We got a real professional setup here. So the last podcast, I stretched. I moved my hands backward because I squirm around these fucking chairs as soon as we sit down. But then it went blurry because it picked up on my hands.
It was like, oh, we're back here now. It's so cute.
Mm-hmm.
No, you know what I find you do is that when you are fully engaged in something, when you're listening, you start moving your body. Mm-hmm. I view it as a compliment. Like, oh, he's locked in. But it is funny. Like, oh, no. Anyway. Yes. If we had a videographer, they could refocus us. No, I don't want you to adapt. If we go blurry, we go blurry. I want you to be comfy. So anyway, point of the matter is, over the weekend, okay, y'all, this business that Trey envisioned that could be a business is thriving. It is growing. I could get so teary. I am having requests for big things. I am having podcast hosts and authors and people in my field around the world say things like, when is your book going to be out? Like, I feel really called to tell you. I had a podcast host the other day, after we were done, look me in the eyes and say, Lauren, something in my body is saying, if you are not already writing it, you need to begin now. Your words need to be heard. So all of these things are happening, and that's great. That's wonderful. But I will go to this place of, I am too much. People would be better off without me. My needs are too great. I can't possibly be what another would need me to be. So therefore, I should take myself out of the picture. I should release Trey to have needs because I am obviously going to fail him if I pursue this thing. And I notice about myself that is something I do. And I start to pull away. I start to feel disconnected because my mind and heart are starting to go somewhere, and I feel like I can't even update the world in enough time. Are these things related to childhood wounds, earlier professional wounds? Yeah, right? Because there was a lot of, no, but this is who you are. Like, well, what do you mean you've changed? Right? Well, I can't even keep up with you. A lot of narratives, of course you'd want that, right? Of course you would do that too. None of this has to do with you. So anyway, was it like Monday? Yeah, it must have been my weekend. You were sending me flirty text messages. You were sending me
graphic text messages.
Graphic text messages.
Flirty's like PG-13.
It's true. Graphic.
Graphic.
Slutty, sexy podcast to listen to. All of this stuff, which, gentle audience, is fabulous 90% of the time. 10% of the time, when work is growing and expanding, I am feeling saturated because work is expanding. And newsflash, so funny, my work is sex. My work is relationships. My work is celebrating sluttiness. My work is dabbling in all of this all the time. I love it. And on my weekends, sometimes, not all the times, I need a break. I need a fucking break from fucking. Like, no, I don't want to study anymore. I don't want to learn anymore. I want to just be. I want to be in nature. I want my body massaged. I want to read books that are about nothing about this. Or I want to read a romance novel and get lost in that, but like not grow and become and expand and consider, which is funny because I love all those things. So anyway, Trey's sending me dirty things.
Traps. There's traps.
He's like instigating sexy conversations. Yeah. You know, the things that make us Trey and Lauren.
I'm horny. I want to fuck.
Yeah. Nothing wrong. And my whole body is like, danger. He needs what you can't provide. This is going to be a disaster. You can't possibly write a book. You will fail him. My massage therapist had these two visions. One of me as like a bride that felt outdated, and another one of me sitting at like a book signing table in Manhattan with folks coming up and I'm signing. And I'm envisioning this with her, and the whole time I'm thinking, but wouldn't I have failed Trey? I can't even go to the vision. Oh, Sunday we go on a coffee drive. I'm like, babe, I'm feeling stuckness. I'm feeling called into these things. I can't see the pathway forward. Could you just can we do an imagination exercise? Can you just paint some pictures? You painted like 2 or 3 amazing pictures, all of which I was like, and I've abandoned Trey.
When you say, just for clarity, when you say release me, you mean like break up, yeah?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like,
isn't it wild? Isn't it wild that I don't?
It's so real.
That I don't take it personally when you say that?
Yeah. I hope you don't, because it's not. This is what Danae's work is about, is that it's not about you. These are, right, my patterns that I go to, and which is why it's critical that I need to know this about myself.
Can I say this also? We can break up as long as we still live together and as long as we still hang out and as long as we still answer each other's text messages first. And as long as we still sleep together, and as long as we still have lots and lots of sex, and as long as we still support each other, mind, body, spirit, we can absolutely break up. That's fine. But as long as all of those things are still happening, completely fine. We'll just be casual lovers. I introduced myself at the bar. It was, what's her name? And she's like, oh, this is Lauren's. And I'm like, I'm her casual lover. That's when I'm going to start doing that just throughout town. Yep. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck.
We don't give a flying fuck.
So yeah, when you say that, it was at the bar. I was like, oh no.
So
No.
what Trey's referencing is I was feeling all of this in my body.
I get the solution. The solution is because, correct me if I'm wrong, you're being called to something and you want to chase your dreams and you want it to be, you don't want to let anybody down. And so, okay, I'll just take care of myself. I'll just go to isolation so I can do this, so I can focus, right? I get it. That's where I go to, but I go to that in unhealth.
Oh, this was unhealth.
Yeah.
I mean, my dreams are not unhealthy, but my coping mechanism, my safety-seeking behaviors.
We can break up if you want to, as long as we still come with each other very often. We can break up. We can separate.
This might be a solution.
Just to separate?
To break up, yeah. No,
I want to fuck you.
I do too, because this is what happens, right? When the obligation ceases,
Yeah.
then I'm like, oh, no, we set the patterns. We even did this in text the other day, right?
It sounds like you're asking for more independence in certain aspects. It's like, hey, or permission to focus on the shit that you want to focus on.
Yeah.
And for me, it's my job to either check in where like, no, that doesn't sound good, or that sounds lovely. How do I support? And then what does it look like? When I used to work in football. I was in football 6 days a week,
Right.
High level football, chasing championships, building rosters. I didn't want to watch the NFL on Sundays.
Why?
Because it was my life.
Yeah.
So that wasn't entertaining to me because it was my literal life. On you have to do all this shit in order to get the play, right? Or the meal. So many things have to happen in order for you to eat a beautiful, delicious meal behind the scenes. So I fully understand and support that if you're going to write a book, you're going to need a whole shit ton of independence time where you're not obligated to anybody or anything but yourself or the things that you want to be, or maybe your clients. I get that if you're involved in talking about sex and solving sexual problems and doing all these things, I get it. It can be overwhelming, because I know your mind goes to like, I'm failing. Or if I don't text back something equally as slutty, or great example of a podcast, if I don't listen to this podcast, I'm failing Trey, where for me it's entertainment, and then for you it's work. And then it's work you're not getting paid for. So we came up with a solution of like, I'm going to start putting disclaimers, because this is my genuine feeling of, oh, babe, you don't need to listen to this. You are not under no obligation to listen to this whatsoever. This is just something I'm sending to you because I don't want to give you more homework. I don't want to give you more work. And also, I'm the type of guy that it's very exciting for me for you to go chase your dreams, because it has to be a two-way street. Where if I'm going to ask for more independence or go chase my dreams, I want to do that. I don't want to be smaller. I don't want to sacrifice in order to like put you first. Or what am I trying to say? Yeah, I want the same thing. If I ask for that, and then we have to have that conversation. But in my mind, it's an easy, go chase your dreams. And like, what does that look like if you're on a book tour? It's either I'm here, taking care of the house and the cats and the baby, and chasing my dreams here, because my dreams they're big, but they're much quieter. Yeah, they're not on a national or an international stage yet. That has to be the process of my dreams revolve around golf. And I'm a 13 handicap, and I have a 0.2% chance of being a high-level professional. But guess what? About 3 months ago, it was 0.1. So that's a 100% increase. You could use your little calculators and figure that out. So genuinely, it excites me on how do I support my person in these big fucking lofty goals. And we're going to have some hard talks? Yeah. We've been having hard talks since the first time I came and visited you in your little city, when we talked about me moving here in 2019. It was still 2019. It was pre-pandemic. So yeah, we can break up as long as we continue to live together and support each other and do our taxes together. Yeah, we can break up.
You said something really interesting when we were sitting at our bar and I was, trying to articulate what was going on in my mind and body. That was really interesting to me. And then Wednesday S brought it up as well. You said something about And isn't it so cool that we're having this conversation now before it's even an actual issue? Can you tell me more about that?
You were afraid of there's not enough from me or you're going to fail me.
Yes.
And for you to declare that out loud months or years in advance gave me such a warm feeling of feeling supported because you were sharing your fears. And I was like, oh, fuck. This is in support of me. It was beautiful. I felt so supported by you saying, I'm afraid of failing you. Asking for what you want is fucking scary.
And then we sat into the reaction in your nervous system, right? We pushed into, there were a few things that you were like, you know, as this is processing through my mind, may I share a couple things that I know my attachment, right? Like now I'm going to some old patterns, which is I need to make myself smaller. I need to...
that was my fear. My fear is like, do I have to sacrifice what I want?
Right.
Or like my wildest dreams in order to support you.
Right.
So we're both actually talking about the same thing.
We are.
Because you're like, I should be supporting my husband and his dreams. Mm-hmm. And it's like, what? Mm-hmm. No, I don't want to play golf with you. I love you so much. No, fuck.
And
you don't want to do. And also,
I
it's
don't
like
want to do that.
You don't have a burning desire to do that.
No, but the tendency to easily say, "Oh, I totally can adapt and be the supportive partner," like the ease with which I believe I could shut down the business tomorrow, be the stay-at-home wife who supports your dreams. I know.
You'd be miserable. And that's not what I want.
Right.
And that's not why, it's one of the reasons why I fell madly in love with you, because you are a driver and you are a very powerful woman that goes out and gets what she wants and builds businesses at this point. That may work for some people. That doesn't work for me. So actually that's going to be a big no in my body. Right. I'm actually, for me, I'm requiring you. No. I need a partner that goes out and chases things while at the same time communicates in an authentic and healthy manner with me about their fears.
Interesting.
If you were to manipulate me or say like, need to toughen up, shit like that, that would be a big red flag for me. Where it's like, hey, I got to go do this and you got to take care of this. And aren't you supportive of my dreams? Like if you were to say things like that, it really would sit poorly in my body. Why? Yeah, throughout my life, I've just born this way. Like, you need to do this, or you telling me what I need to do is an automatic, like, fuck you in my body. It's just what it is. But you don't do that, babe. Like, go ahead.
No, that was really cool to listen to. As I was listening, I was also hearing that my desire to do that would be based in the desire to quit my job, stay home, support you, is interesting because that goes to, okay, well, if I'm meeting his needs, he'll keep choosing me. And I think there is this thing in our nervous systems when it comes to attachment in relationships where we so desperately want to remain in relationship that we will do things. We will. So growing up, I think most listeners know, but it's always good to give a little context. When I was 18 months old, my brother was born, and he was given a medication in his first week of life because of a fever that caused him to lose 80% of his hearing. And then my mother knew this, but no doctor would believe her until he was 2. And by the time he was 2, I had a whole entire another brother. And so there are things that I've worked with many healers on, that patterns that started developing in my body as early as 18 months old, so that I would be self-sufficient, so that I could remain safe inside of a family unit as an 18-month-old. It's nobody's fault necessarily. It's just that I wanted to survive and I wanted to be chosen. There's this infamous cassette tape recording, if everybody remembers, well, our generation, the Fisher-Price, like little recorder things where you could hold a microphone, but it was recording, where I'm at the dining room table and my mother is making dinner and she's making like breakfast for dinner and my father's off getting his master's, I think. And so there's three of us. My middle brother's in the high chair. He's like, I don't know, 7, 8 months old. So that means probably the brother right under me has just got hearing aids or something, and we're being loud. And you just hear my mother scream from the kitchen, "If you all don't cut it out, I'm spanking all of you." And then you hear us kind of get quiet, and then you hear this little Lauren voice go, "Even the baby?" And the threat, and I understand her exhaustion, but this is just so beautiful to hear. You hear her say from the other room, "Even the baby." And so my internalized body at that point started processing, adapt, and also keep everybody else okay so that we all stay safe. And so it's so cool, sad, beautiful to watch these things show up in our partnership sometimes. Because I want to be safe. And sometimes that means a whole crazy train of thought, which is, you know what's easiest is I'll take myself out of the dynamic because I know that I'm a lot. I know that my dreams are huge. And I don't want you to have to be less.
Do you remember tag as a kid?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's base where you're safe somewhere. And then going out and playing tag is taking risks. And then you have base. So I need you as my partner to go out and take risks. And then we have our base. I need you to go chase your dreams. It's actually a requirement. It's always been a requirement. I need you to be big. And then I need you to take the risks of fucking up. Not in a sabotage type of way, but in a try this, maybe it doesn't work. Write a book. Baby, you may write a book. Maybe nobody reads it. Maybe nobody gives a fuck. And then you know what you do? You write another book if that's what you want to do. What would bother me is if you wrote it halfway and then you stopped out of fear of, oh, nobody's going to buy it. We do have a hard out.
We do.
5 minutes.
Thank you. It's a beautiful analogy. I love that it includes play and risk and adventure and, exploration. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, and I don't want you to be small either. And call me crazy, but I think there's a world in which we give gifts and receive gifts, where we play tag with one another. Like, hey, your turn, you're it, right? And of course this conversation happened, and then it's like the universe or artificial intelligence, I don't know, I'm being fed all of these things on algorithms. I even sent you, I stumbled into a podcast where the founder of Spanx is being interviewed, and she's talking about how both of her team and her husband's team put date night on the calendar every single week, and they sit down once a month, and their relationship is prioritized, even though they're flying all the world, doing this, that, or the other thing. No, she's like, we date each other. And then I saw another successful couple, and they were like, no, we don't do date night. We're always dating each other. He was like, yeah, she's my girlfriend. And so, it just reminds me that there's no one right way to do it. There's not. There's our way. That's different. Ironically, before all of this too, you and I had been with some friends and we had done tarot card readings.
Yeah.
And Trey and I found out some information that literally just made us smile, which is when our friend was pulling up, you know, Trey's birth time, birth date, astrological signs, and mine. What'd she say in your words?
You two like really cross a lot of paths now and then, like in your ancestral past. You may have known each other like throughout your lineage of humans, of how we got here, or your people may have known our people. And then like as far as the stars is like we're like really aligned on many different things, and we are like cosmically linked, cosmic partners.
And you and I just kind of looked at each other like, One of the things it said that I think took, both of us a little teary was that we are in each other's lives to help us heal old patterns and really sharpen one another, heal old wounds. And that, seems really sweet and special, but it's hard sometimes.
Correct. Especially when asking, yeah.
It's hard sometimes.
Especially we're living our lives trying not to hurt each other.
It's never my intent.
And I'm so motivated at keeping myself healthy, mind, body, spirit, in order to continue to attract you. That's I'm not terrified, but like, hey, this is an exceptional person. You better be exceptional too.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to play. Because the week before that, we made a very slutty time because I requested it. I go, hey, I need like my slutty, sexy play partner. Mm-hmm. Let's set up the living room. Let's play the 3-minute game. And then we'll go on a date afterward. And then what you needed last Tuesday was, hey, I need my connected partner where I need to have a hard conversation with you and share some things that like are scaring me. So thank you for asking what you wanted. And I'm going to pat myself on the back and keep it low for what I wanted.
Yeah.
And it's not easy.
No. I'll wrap it up with one of our favorite quotes. I said, you have your own domain. I have my own domain. And every aspect of human relationship is a negotiation of the third domain, the space between us. It is not about you wanting less and me wanting less. It is about a beautiful negotiation of the space in between us and how that works. I refuse to buy into this narrative that in order for Lauren to succeed, Trey has to be less or vice versa. No, that might require some beautiful, tender negotiations. Thank you for being my partner. I'm sorry we have to break up, but thank you. Thanks for coming to this episode of the Partnership Podcast. Please remember, these are our opinions, our lived experiences. You have a right to informed decision-making and self-determination. If something that we said here today resounded with you, I would love to talk more about your partnership and tools that I might be able to help you acquire. You can go to sexedforyou.com/free consult, and you and I can chat for about 15 minutes about the work that I do, and I can see if we might be a good fit. Make sure to like, subscribe, all that juicy stuff, and we'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.